Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's make sure everything's up and running. Volume's low, so we'll get that fixed. All right, that should take care of the volume. See if we're actually live. Nothing in the chat yet, but that will come in a second. Okay, there we go. There we go. Big Nuz, good to see you. Dave Patterson, Ryan Zerp, Jared Johnson, Kim. $19.70, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. The second line works better. Weird. What line? What do you mean? Second stream? Guys, if you are getting here from YouTube, make sure to smash that like on X or retweet would go a long way. Really appreciate everyone doing that. Mary Cox, good to see you. Sunday slide, how's it looking right now? How's it looking right now? Wishing you and your family safety through that entire thing. One link is full screen. Yeah, there's a vertical stream and a horizontal stream, so you can just pick whichever one you prefer. Tomato Pete, good to see you. Sean, good morning. Getting started here, pulling up the charts. Okay, won't see much until later. Yeah, I figured. Silver Days, good to see you, brother. More Think Space, good to see you. Yeah, we can take a quick look at XRP just to start things off here. We're continuing just to sit on the bottom of this range, which, while might be boring, is definitely a good sign. It's really good to see XRP reacting like that because it shows that XRP is finding some pretty serious support here. So we'll continue to monitor this as time goes by, but I think the obvious thing that's going to happen now is XRP is going to gradually or suddenly either move back to the middle here and then hopefully make another press on here. And one of these times, XRP is going to break out. The good news is that big downward move didn't cause it to break out to the downside. We did break out to the downside back here, but was able to recover back into it. But every other time we have just been rejected one way or the other. And this thing is going to break. It's just a matter of time. Had a lot of different fake outs. It's looked like multiple times we were going to break out just to get sucked back in. Massive head fake. And I think this kind of one of those things that will shake a lot of people out waiting for it to finally go before it does go. And people are kind of just left in the dust. Is this a conspiracy stream? I don't think this is a conspiracy stream, but interesting question. Oh, that's my problem. I'm not pulling in all the chats right now. Chadwick, good to see you. Roger, good to see you. Keith, good to see you. Let me pull in the rest of the chats. I forgot about that. That's the only problem with having two different YouTube streams. I have to pull in those chats together so we could so I can see it all in one place. But we got that going right now. Guys, make sure to smash the like button. Really appreciate that. Definitely have some interesting little clips to go over. There's a lot of interviews flying around last night, so we'll go over a lot of those interviews. There's a lot of interesting things coming up on X. Elon Musk did an interview. Kamala Harris did an interview. I know how much all of you love Kamala, so we'll check out some of the stuff she had to say. Painfully bad. Start off with this. This is Governor DeSantis talking about that hurricane coming in. Take a quick listen over here and see what he has to say.
Building an expansion in New Orleans.
Before we do that, I've got to mute CNBC because CNBC is talking about nothing interesting. Tesla's robo-taxi thing is coming up. That could actually be pretty interesting, but I don't want to do that.
And we've been laser focused on leveraging all resources available, including from the federal government. And I've been in touch with both FEMA and the president, as well as marshaling all our state agencies and working to support our local communities. And so for Kamala Harris to try to say that my sole focus on the people of Florida is somehow selfish is delusional. She has no role in this. In fact, she's been vice president for 3.5 years. I've dealt with a number of storms under this administration. She has never contributed anything to any of these efforts. And so what I think is selfish
Has she ever
is her
called
trying
before?
to blunder into this. No. And here's
Has
the
she ever
thing.
called before?
She has no role. No, she has no role in this process. I'm in contact with the President of the United States. I'm in contact with FEMA director. I'm obviously managing all our state agencies. We're supporting all our local government. And I will say this. I've had storms under both President Trump and President Biden, and I've worked well with both of them. She's the first one who's trying to politicize the storm, and she's doing that just because of her campaign. She's trying to get some type of an edge. She knows she's doing poorly, and so she's playing these political games. I don't have time for political games. I've got people whose lives are on the line. I've got people whose homes and their possessions are on the line, and we are focused 100% on that mission. I'm not worried about playing her political games. And so she is being selfish by trying to blunder into this when we're working just fine.
Interesting little clip right there. Obviously, with the election, a lot of this will be politicized, but it's hard not to look at some of the pitfalls and kind of how some of these storms have been handled thus far. I don't think that's too much of a stretch to realize there's been some serious issues. Yeah, he is coming out hot. Yeah, Roger, how are you doing? Are you in the line here? Are you not expecting much? If anyone is in the line of sight, let me know. Just curious how many of you are kind of sitting in that position. This is an interesting clip of Elon Musk last night. Like I said, there was a lot of interesting clips breaking on X last night, and there's not a ton going on in the market. So I want to share some of this stuff with you guys because a lot of it was very interesting. Here's a clip of Elon Musk from his internet the other night, and I mean from his interview the other night. And Elon Musk, I think it's fair to say that Elon Musk no longer cares. He is going to say whatever he wants to say. There's absolutely nothing holding him back, and he does not have any limits. It's actually kind of shocking to see some of the things he is willing to go out and say, but this one is pretty interesting.
But you'll just say whatever words are on the teleprompter, so, you know, it's really whoever controls the teleprompter is the actual sort of, that's who's actually in charge.
And who is that, do you think?
Well, I've tried to pin it down. It's not like any one kind of mastermind. It's not like, it seems to be, it's like Kamala's sort of a marionette with, you know, 1,000 puppet masters type of thing. Like not, it's or maybe it's somewhere north of 100 is what it seems like.
Yes. I bet you know 80 of them.
I probably know most of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just by virtue of your job and what you've been doing for the last 30 years, I mean,
yeah.
And I should say, I think you voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know. It's mind blowing that they've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They've not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Well, because they have a lot of diabetic grandmothers who were outside the Capitol on January 6th. They're kind of occupied.
Yeah, they've put like whatever 500 or 600 January 6th protesters in prison, and not one person on the Epstein client list.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Interesting clip right there. Elon Musk obviously willing to take any shot out there now, which, I mean, say what you will about the guy. There's very few billionaires out there who are willing to go out and say stuff like that. So thought that was pretty interesting. And actually just wanted to play the first couple minutes of that interview because there actually were some gems. Like right off, I didn't listen to the entire thing, but right off the start, there's actually some really funny moments, and it was a little less serious, but it was really entertaining because Elon Musk was really just getting into it. Guys, make sure to take a quick second. If you're getting here now, drop a like on the stream, retweet, whatever you need to do, help show people the stream. We're going to get into some of the more XRP related stuff in a minute. Just wanted to show you some of this. There's a lot of stuff going around X last night, a lot of very interesting interviews with very important people. So I just wanted to break that down, do a quick recap so all of you guys kind of have the highlights from that. He was talking on X last night about buying mainstream media outlets and then shutting them down. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. That does not surprise me at all. Also, guys, if you are someone who's constantly trying to make it on time to the live streams, but can't, highly suggest turning on notifications. Turning on notifications will make it so when I go live, you actually get notified and you don't miss out when I do go live. So definitely something to consider there. Interesting, Albert. Yeah, I've always been a big Elon Musk fan just because I'm a big Tesla fan. But it seems like he is swaying a lot of people. Him coming out and being a lot more honest and being a lot more straightforward is definitely making a lot more people favor him. Yeah, no, he doesn't care. Yeah, he doesn't care. And that's one of the things I think a lot of people appreciate, especially the common person who is kind of wondering why so many people haven't cared about this stuff for so long. Listen up to this. This is the start of the interview, and there are some great moments from this.
If he loses, man, what? You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think? Will I see my children? I don't know.
Because it's not like you can say, well, yeah, I maxed out to him, but, you know, I have
no plausible deniability. No, and I've been trashing Kamala nonstop.
Oh, I know.
Well, the Kamala puppet, I call her, you know. The machine that the Kamala puppet represents.
Yeah, she's irrelevant. I mean, she's not even.
No. I made a joke which I realized I deleted, which is like nobody's even bothering to try to kill Kamala because it's pointless. What do you achieve? Nothing.
No, it's totally
just find
right.
another puppet.
Exactly. That's.
It's no point in killing.
It's deep and true, though.
Nobody's trying to kill Joe Biden. It would be pointless.
Totally. You actually put that up?
Yeah. Now, some people interpreted it as though I was calling for people to assassinate her. but I was like, nobody even, I was like, doesn't it seem strange that no one's even bothered to try?
It's not worth it.
I mean,
there's an endless supply.
Yeah, like nobody would. It's absurd.
It could be anybody.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna try to. Nobody tries to assassinate a puppet.
Of course not. A marionette.
Yeah, marionette. It's just like, It's
hilarious.
What? She's safe. Like, to try to kill Trump twice with actual guns and bullets.
Oh yeah.
Shot in the ear right in fucking Butler where I was. And
he doesn't seem rattled. It's weird. Does he to you?
It doesn't seem what?
Rattled.
He's the constitution of an ox, it seems. It's not like working out and eating healthy. And he's...
Okay, we gotta tape this.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So
he's not like, let me eat another salad. That's not... No. Or work out, fastidiously. That's I feel like how he doesn't work out, and he eats cheeseburgers and Diet Coke and stuff, and because I think it just inherently has a strong constitution.
So you were just with him. He didn't seem like a man who'd been the subject of 2 assassination attempts.
No, he seemed of sound mind and body and strong backbone.
Did you?
That's what I said in the thing. Which,
yeah.
The remarks I made there were impromptu. There was no teleprompter or anything. I was speaking extemporaneously.
Are you the only rich guy who doesn't have like a media consultant?
No, I don't media consultant.
Yeah, no, I've noticed.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I just thought about what I want to say, and I just spoke off the cuff. No teleprompter, nothing.
Good for you.
Yeah. I can talk. Just look like now. I'm just talking. Look at me. Wow, amazing. Can you believe it? I can talk without a teleprompter. That's crazy.
But if he loses, it's going to be hard for you to pretend you never supported him.
All in. In the deep end.
Yeah, no, you are definitely in the deep end. You cannot touch bottom.
No, I'm like rolling around. I'm like a pig in mud. I'm like,
Funny little start to the interview there. I just thought it was interesting to hear Elon Musk kind of say he was kind of all in on it. And I don't know. It's very rare nowadays you get to hear anyone who is his importance just kind of talk so candidly and just open about how he kind of sees things. And I thought the whole thing was pretty funny, especially with like some of the things he was saying in the beginning about, I don't know, stuff that you just wouldn't expect to hear Elon say. I don't know how happy a lot of the Tesla OGs are in hearing that, but man, I thought that was pretty awesome to hear Elon come out and say it. So, and the reason why a lot of the Tesla people don't like it goes back to his 420 comment, right? It goes back to his like taking Tesla private at 420. It's like, does not care what the implications of what he says are, he is going to say it. And a lot of people have said like over time, they're like, this is something that's a fault of Elon. But I think it's going to come out and actually end up being something that benefits him, because I've seen a lot of people, and a lot of people tell me that a lot of this, while has polarized probably certain people against him, I think it's definitely made him more likable to the people with any level of common sense or understanding what's going on in the world. Like, he's not going to be perfect, right? But like, just the fact that you can't have someone with that much money willing to kind of go against the grain, I think it's important. Trump, Musk, Gabbard, RFK is honestly a super team. Yeah, I agree, Sunday Slot. I was a big fan of RFK. So I probably leaned a little bit more in RFK's camp than Trump initially. So that them together was a really good combination. I don't think RFK really had a lot of the I don't think he was ever going to have the appeal to do what Trump has done, but Elon's laugh clashing with Tucker's laugh cancel each other out. Yeah, that's a good point. They do have pretty funny laughs, especially back and forth in that interview. Someone did something. Andrew Mills, thank you so much for new subscriber. New subscriber. Thank you. Love getting those new subs, especially from the live stream. It's cool. It's cool. Guys, if you're over on X, make sure to drop a retweet. Really appreciate that. Trying to get one of the bigger shows on X. I think that would be really cool. And then obviously YouTube. Just exit out of the live chat real quick. Drop that like. Super helpful. Greg the Barber, good to see you. Great to see you. All right. Tim Draper clip. We'll jump into the XRP for stuff. So listen up to this. This is from Tony from Thinking Crypto.
What do you think about the legal battle? So, because, Ripple, I think, was the first to really get sued, the big major lawsuit, right? They came out with that with a partial victory where the judge mentioned intrinsically these tokens are not securities. It's very much in line with Howie. It wasn't the oranges or the orange trees or the orange groves. It was Howie's packaging, his scheme. Gensler is taking losses in court, right? With Ripple, you got the Grayscale lawsuit and much more. And part of your prediction was eventually the incumbents and the people who are fighting end up adopting this. What are your thoughts on where we're at in that timeline?
We're getting close. We have at least one and maybe both presidential candidates looking to adopt Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a way to encourage innovation because they know it's happening. I mean, the real killer is all this innovation is happening, and there are many Americans are coming up with these innovative things, and then they geofence the U.S.
Yeah.
In effect, not allowing anybody in the U.S. to try their product. And all those great products are happening outside the U.S., and all those customers are able to innovate from that new platform. And we're not, because there's this big dark cloud that is the SEC today. And the SEC is living in the past. It's an 80-year-old set of laws that they're clinging to. And it's just time to change. The world's moved on. And if you want to compete in this world, if you want to be the U.S. and still compete and still encourage all the innovation, all the great things that happen in the Silicon Valley, you've got to embrace this. And I think both presidential candidates understand that. Trump did first. He said, I'm going to be the crypto president. Gary Gensler's going to be fired. I'm going to do it. And so he grasped it early, but I'm also seeing Kamala have some of the same thoughts. So I'm encouraged that we're getting to that place where it's either embraced or accepted. I mean, it's hard. There are 50 million Americans with wallets, with Bitcoin wallets or crypto wallets. That is not a voting block you can ignore.
His eyebrows are insane. Insane. I don't know. Chicks dig the browster. Oh, that's awesome. New subscriber, SM Burkle? SM Burkle. Well, thank you for subscribing, brother. Ed, good to see you. Yeah, those eyebrows are wild. Every single time I see him, I'm blown away. I was like, he must like twist them up. Like he must have like gel in there. Like gel them up, get them like nice and pointy. Like, I mean, if I didn't do my eyebrows, they could look like that. They could look like that. I could do the Tim Draper. I will not do it for the people about to ask, but I could pull off the Tim Draper. Those are some crazy eyebrows. It's like this, like, I think I would have a really hard time. Martin Vulcan. I would have a really hard time actually talking with him. Like, I feel like I would just be locked on the brows. He lost 40K Bitcoin in Mt. Gox and still has 30K. Oh, that's what we'll be like with XRP one day, Roger. That's what we'll be like with XRP one day. Not the losing part, obviously. We don't want to be losing it. I just mean having a ridiculous amount of XRP that no one really can like comprehend the amount. I think that's where we'll be one day with XRP, to be honest with you guys. I want to find a. There's some good Kamala clips that came out last night. I want to jump into some of those. Some of these were atrocious. Okay, here we go. 60 Minutes put her on blast too. 60 Minutes put her on blast. I was surprised, like so far, like just keeping track of who's actually given Kamala or actually went at Kamala in a pretty tough way. CNN did during that debate. CBS was really favoring no, what was the first one? Oh no, CNN did Joe Biden dirty, not Kamala. Not Kamala. Okay. Whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's this.
I've been covering the border for years. And so I know this is not a problem that started with your administration.
Correct.
But there was an historic flood of undocumented immigrants coming across the border the first 3 years of your administration. As a matter of fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump. Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem. And solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. What we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
But should you
we
have
have
done
cut
that?
the
Should you
flow
have
of
done that?
fentanyl by half, but we need Congress to be able to act to actually fix the problem.
So I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little impressed with 60 Minutes here. I mean, I've never actually seen that level of pushback on someone like Kamala. Normally it's like, hey, here's your question. She can say whatever she wants. And they're like, oh, okay, sounds good. Okay. Yeah, whatever you say. This is the first time I've ever seen any kind of like pushback on any candidate. Like, I mean, you know what they do to Trump, and Trump is like a full-on war. Like you say one wrong thing and they're like attacking him. But here's another interesting one. A lot of good content coming out last night. Not a lot of interesting crypto stuff dropping at the moment, but there was a lot of interesting in the political side of things.
In your debate with J.D. Vance, you said, I'm a knucklehead at times. And I think you were referring to the time that you said that you were in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square unrest when you were not.
Yeah.
Is that kind of misrepresentation, isn't that more than just being a knucklehead?
I think folks know who I am, and I think they know the difference between someone expressing emotion, telling a story, getting a date wrong rather than a pathological liar like Donald Trump.
But I think it comes down to the question of whether you can be trusted to tell the truth.
Yeah, well, I can. I think I can. I will own up to being a knucklehead at times, but the folks closest to me know that I keep my word.
In your debate with...
A crazy word, knucklehead. Like, what is this, first grade? Oh, man. So cringy. So cringy. Man, that's a tough listen. That is a tough listen. We'll hit another one real quick of Kamala. I think the big reason why 60 Minutes is like doing real interviews and all these other people is because they actually get views if they actually do their job. It's like when they don't do their job, no one watches it. And if they do their job, people watch it. So it's the free market, right? If you just keep on doing these softball interviews, no one's going to watch it because no one cares. If you go do your job and provide good content that people are going to be like, oh, wow, that's shocking, then people are going to go watch it because they're actually learning something. So that's CNN's problem. They in 60 Minutes on all of them, you can only push propaganda for so long. You can only push propaganda for so long until people start to realize that they're just not able to trust anything you're putting out, and it destroys your own credibility. So they are actually being forced to revert back to the mean. And when you think about it, they probably get a lot more attention and views when Trump's in office as well. Firedog says it's absolutely insane to me that these guys are continuing to do interviews. Yeah, I agree. Firedog, I could not agree with you more there. I have no idea why they're doing interviews. No idea why they're doing interviews. So that's so funny because they weren't doing interviews, right? They weren't doing interviews and things were going great. And then suddenly they started opening their mouths and now things are falling apart. They should have never done any interviews. And Firedog, we talked about this, right? We talked about how I can't believe Elizabeth Warren is going to debate John Deaton. Why would you ever do that if you're Elizabeth Warren? Why would you ever debate John Deaton? Insane. But we will be live streaming that debate. Absolutely. I could not be more excited for that. We will be live streaming the Elizabeth Warren, John Deaton debate. And also a lot of people were asking why I wasn't on Paul Barron. That got pushed to Thursday. So sorry about that. I don't know if something got misscheduled on the back end or whatever, but they reached out to me and they're like, due to some other stuff. No interviews now. They absolutely dude, they might have to double down though now, Firedog. They might have to double down now because now they have to try to get a good interview out there. XP Mark, good to see you. Great to have you. All right, let's play this real quick. Well.
There are lots of signs that the American economy is doing very well. Better than most countries, I think. But the American people don't seem to be feeling it. Groceries are 25% higher. And people are blaming you and Joe Biden for that. Are they wrong?
We now have historic low unemployment in America among all groups of people. We now
We definitely don't have historic low.
Have an economy that is thriving by all macroeconomic measures. And to your point, prices are still too high. And I know that, and we need to deal with it, which is why part of my plan, you mentioned groceries. Part of my plan is what we must do to bring down the price of groceries.
There are lots of signs that the American...
All right, well, that's enough of that for the morning, but definitely some interesting interviews breaking last night. The contrast between some of the stuff Elon was doing and that very honest kind of just throw it all out there versus a lot of the very sage stuff. Cool to see Elon be activated in this entire thing. But Firedog, I think you're completely right. I don't know why they're still doing the interviews. If I was on that campaign, I would be like, no more talking. Absolutely no more talking. We're done. Just go into silence. We won't say anything anymore. Take a look at the dollar real quick. Switch over to some of the more market-based news. You have CNBC going here. Let me see if anything interesting is being talked about on CNBC. No, there's a kind of a drought in the market right now in terms of interesting news. What's today? Is today the 9th? No, we got 2 days until that Federal Reserve meeting. That I think the markets are kind of on standby. We'll take a look at the dollar because XP Market is here, and I know we want to take a look at that dollar. All right, so here's the dollar, and we got this big rebound in the dollar right now. Obviously, kind of coming back up, dead cat bounce, I would think, but I wouldn't say it's anything I'm overly worried about at the moment because whenever you have a steep fall like this, you always have some kind of reaction back to the upside, especially when we got to this big resistance right here. I think it's very likely that if we get another big cut, it will be able to come back down, hopefully with more momentum and break down through here. I'm not really sure what's really causing this spike in the dollar. To me, it seems like more just fears around a recession and people flying to safety. But everything to me still seems like the dollar will continue to trend downward. And when we zoom out and just take a look at the larger scale or the or a more zoomed out view, we can see that the direction definitely still is to that downside. So it is interesting to see the dollar having this kind of rebound. It seems like in the short term, we are seeing something happening in yields that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Oh, it looks like the chart just crashed. Pull that back up. Yeah, here we go. So that's the dollar in the short term. On the daily, I want to pull this over to the weekly so we can get a more zoomed out view. Geez, trading view is just not working right now. All right, well, we'll leave that page and we'll try it over here. Yep, so here's a more zoomed out view. There's that obvious trend we've been watching for the dollar, kind of just moving back down in this channel. We've kind of been pinned in this upper area, and what we think is if we go into a new macro wave where the dollar is actually getting devalued and interest rates come down, we'll have enough momentum to really break down through this thing. So to me, all of that looks pretty good. It's just waiting for those events to really start hitting the market. But the trend right now definitely is down, and we just need to regain some of that momentum. BTC XRP. Take a quick look at that. Yep. So we're doing this double tap, and this is something I talked about as something being something that could have been a possibility. It looks like we are going to come down and kind of retest this zone right here. This is something we've seen before where XRP will get that lift off and then get rejected, come back down and tap before making that big move up. It seems like that's what we're going to do. And I think that lines up with a lot of the other charts we've been watching in terms of Bitcoin. One of the things Bitcoin has obviously wanted to do, take a look. Bitcoin has been really trying to break out of this high. And I think what we likely see is Bitcoin get that momentum at some point to break out. That kind of kills this XRP to BTC chart. As Bitcoin breaks out against XRP, that is enough momentum for this to come down here, touch this bottom level. And once it touches there, once Bitcoin breaks out, that's where you see things flip. So that's what I'm looking to see happen. I'm looking for Bitcoin to get that momentum to get through here. We'll see if that rate cut news in 2 days is enough to kind of propel a lot of these assets higher. But those are the things I'm currently watching at the moment. Where is RLUSD? Interesting question. Right now, we're really waiting for the trust license to be transferred over on the back end. So Ripple is issuing RLUSD through a trust license with standard custody. So right now, I think they're waiting for the New York DFS to actually approve of that and be able to put that forward. So I think that's what's being waited on the back end right now. I think they probably have a general timeline for when they expect to see it, but I don't think they have any certain date. So until that trust license is fully transferred and approved, I think they're just waiting on those regulatory hurdles to close out. Appreciate that, Roger. You're the best. Checking the news real quick, making sure we're not missing anything. Been a light day. It's been a light kind of period of news in the market. But I guess we just had a million pretty crazy things going on. So I guess that kind of makes sense. The next thing we're waiting on is waiting to see what the SEC actually does in terms of their appeal. That's going to be a really interesting moment because that's going to let us really know kind of what the SEC's intentions are on the appeal. I've seen some people speculate that maybe the SEC is only going to be appealing the fine. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think the SEC will be going after more than just the fine. I think the SEC is likely going to be targeting quite a few things here, including those programmatic sales. Wonder what happens to Bitcoin when Tether collapses. I've seen a lot of people speculate on that. It's important to realize that Tether is very important to XRP as well. Let me see if I can find this chart. There was a great chart breaking this down. I wish if Taylor was here, Taylor would know it. Taylor, are you here right now? If Taylor's in here, Taylor will know the chart I'm looking for. It shows XRP's inflows by currency. And there is a lot of inflow from Tether to XRP. Yeah, it's not a bad, like people look at it as a bad thing. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like Tether's a big stable coin. It makes sense. It's just like, I don't understand why people have this idea that Tether is only going to be bad for Bitcoin. Made $1,000 on Sui yesterday, put it into XRP. Oh, that's dope. Nice little swing trade. Let's take a look at Sui. Oh yeah, so Sui's approaching an all-time high. Very interesting. It's just the current thing. It's so funny. Sui's going to replace Solana. All the Solana people are going to go over to Sui, and then there's going to be the next thing. It's so funny how that works. It's like people are just constantly switching what is going to be the next big thing. Right now it's Sui. Tomorrow will be something else. That's the thing with kind of altering just these general kind of smart platforms for blockchain compute. Like there's no stickiness to any one. It's just like, all right, what's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? It's just like next. Same thing with Solana. And I guarantee you, and I would bet you that the biggest loser of Sui is probably Solana, because I guarantee you Solana now starts to lose momentum because it's like, oh, now the thing is Sui, right? So now like Sui's the new thing and people don't really care about Solana. So it's interesting how that works. There's like no actual loyalty or no actual underlying thesis to the application of any of these or differentiation between one or the other. It's like, okay, which one's the fastest? Boom, that's the new thing. Defense said, isn't Sui competing with Cardano? Well, there are every blockchain is competing with one another. It's one big, massive competition. So it's really, whenever you have a retail-based smart contract platform, it's competing with all the retail-based smart contract platforms, which is Cardano, which is Sui, which is everything, Avalanche. All of these are competing with one another, and that's why I like XRP so much. It's just very differentiated in this entire pool of protocols that are all competing with one another. Yeah, Cardano, Charles Hoskinson did give credit to Sui. Which I'm not sure how much that actually means, but he did do it. Yes, every token on the XRP ledger uses XRP. So I see a lot of people ask, will RLUSD use XRP? Absolutely, yep. XRP is a critical part of moving anything on the XRP ledger. You can't do it without XRP. So XRP always remains important and critical in the entire equation. Let's flip over here real quick and see if they're saying anything interesting over on CNBC.
A lot of Fed speak today, watching Hurricane Milton, now one of the strongest Gulf storms in 20 years. Our roadmap is going to begin with futures, though, shrugging off these China jitters after Beijing holds off on further stimulus. And one key Fed official says our economy is well positioned for a soft landing.
Plus, PepsiCo trims its revenue outlook. It says U.S. consumers continue to pull back on buying snacks and drinks. And keep an eye on shares of NVIDIA. 6-week high, eclipsing Microsoft as the second most valuable company. That kind of happened during our show yesterday. More gains today, not for Microsoft, but for NVIDIA.
Let's begin with the markets from the U.S. to China. We mentioned Hong Kong. Actually, the divergence, Jim, between Hong Kong and Shanghai was historic.
Yeah, and let's remember also, there's some crazy stuff going on. There's this hot money component. Like when there's not enough money, hot money, that can go buy Shanghai and also buy NVIDIA at the same time. So the money flows back. Finally, I mean, they didn't announce stimulus today. And matter of fact, they're putting the brandy, Hennessy, one of your favorites probably, Hennessy, they got a tariff one. Well, they're counting the cases. But all I can say, Carl, is that if we could get that money back, if we could get the Chinese money, you remember when Dave Tepper, who's like the best in the world, was saying everything? Well, today is like nothing. So if the money comes back, then I think that you'll see a decent opening.
Right. They had this press conference with this National Reform Council where I guess
what they're talking about is actually pretty important, but I'll just summarize it quick for you. A lot of money is being pumped into the Chinese economy right now, which is probably pretty good for the entire market as a whole. Roger, I'm trying to pull that up right now. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here we go. Here's David Schwartz specifically talking about RLUSD XRP. So let me bring that up.
These were like, oh no, sold to you.
One sec. Okay, so someone said to David Schwartz, they said, no more games, David. Tell me, will RLUSD be net positive for XRP, even though it can do 70% or more of what XRP was made to do? Y'all know cross-border payments. I hear you and Brad saying, but truthfully, I feel forked, afterthoughts, whatever. Only XRP can use to be paying transaction fees on the XRP ledger. Everyone who transacts with XRP must pay. Everyone who transacts must have XRP to pay those fees. XRP is the only asset that every account can hold, and there's no counterparty or jurisdiction and cannot be frozen or clawed back. XRP has structural advantages on the XRP ledger due to features like auto bridging, but if a stablecoin can do most of what XRP does better than XRP can, then XRP will lose to one or more stablecoins no matter what happens with RLUSD. Yeah, that's a great point by David Schwartz. I mean, if stablecoins are better for payments, then obviously then people are going to pick the stablecoin. But I don't like XRP is used as liquidity in the system. It's very different than using for payments. So I fundamentally disagree that it's really as much of a competition with one another than many people make it out to be. You don't really hear any of these conversations happening with Ethereum, right? With Ethereum, it's like, oh, stable coins are great. Like, we want stable coins. And then, like, on the XRP ledger, it's like, oh, it's like these stable coins are replacing XRP. The token at the base layer for the blockchain is fundamentally different than any kind of issued asset on top of it, like a stable coin. Because XRP is its own currency. XRP is its own asset. You can't just replace one asset for another if they're completely different and act like they're the same. It's just not how things work. So I don't really see it as competition at all. I think they're completely different assets. They're completely different currencies with completely different abilities. And XRP will bridge stablecoins. Absolutely, Roger. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, XRP is neutral and jurisdictionless. So until a stablecoin can solve that, I just don't really see there being much of a difference. Stablecoins are just representations of the dollar that's already existed. Like, we already have digital dollars. All the dollars in your bank account are already digital. So the only thing that a stablecoin adds is the instant settlement to a dollar, but still doesn't actually help the bridging in between. Thank you, Exotic. I appreciate that. Means a lot. What's your take on Trump backing out of the 60 Minutes interview? I would like to see him do it. Maybe he'll do it now that he saw they were fair to Kamala. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, Trump's never treated fairly, so I'm surprised he really cares. I would, if I was Trump, I would be a lot more willing to do the 60 Minutes thing than do a debate on CBS. But I mean, clearly he's under the impression that he's going to be treated in a way where he's made to look bad. So I understand kind of where he's coming from on that, because I would assume they would do everything in their power to make him look bad. I don't know. I don't know if I have too much of a thought on that. How long does it take for the SEC versus XRP for Second Circuit? How long is it? I'm not sure of the question. That case won't be the case won't be resolved if it does go the distance until like 2026. So it'll probably take like a year from now to fully resolve. But it doesn't have to fully resolve. We could get a new SEC chair in, and then we could see this case just get either dropped or settled. This is something pretty interesting that got brought up later. Yeah, I mean, got brought up yesterday. It's a pretty big deal. It actually looks like Trump's guy for the SEC is actually going to be one of the chief legal officers at Robinhood, who is obviously pro-cryptocurrency. So this is one of those things that would completely change the game in terms of the Ripple SEC case. Because obviously, if we had someone ahead of the SEC who's pro-cryptocurrency, like the head chief compliance officer at Robinhood, that would make it so is instantly a more favorable environment to get some kind of actual settlement done between the parties. So there's a lot that could happen, and I'm pretty confident there will be some kind of change that significantly impacts the Ripple SEC case going the distance. What's your take on cross-border? What is your take on the cross-border payments? Was just a test for Ripple to move over to carrying derivatives market on chain? Well, I think Ripple's just trying to do a lot of different things to improve the financial system, and I think they're looking to lean into whatever has momentum. So I think cross-border payments is just the low-hanging fruit. XRP and these cryptocurrencies are really good for sending from one place to another. So I don't think it necessarily is that like it was a test for something else. I think it's more just like, hey, this is a great way to, I guess you could kind of look at it as a test. This is a great way to start proving a concept before we do things that are bigger and more complex. Meta Law Man, 3 p.m. Talk about the Ripple appeal. Yeah, that's going to be good. That's going to be a really good little skit right there, and I'm going to be able to get a lot of information for that and then break that down later. So I'm excited to check that out. I think he's on John Deaton's show, right? Yeah, I got to meet the Meta Law Man in person. He's a great guy. Funny enough, Meta Law Man like ran up to me. He was like, dude, it's so good to see you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of crazy. Wasn't expecting that. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, when I first got my start, he's like, it was you who was like throwing me all this attention. He was like, you were like retweeting all my stuff. He was like, you were like blowing me up. He's like, pretty sure I'm the reason I have so many different subscribers. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I actually, apparently he like attributes a lot of him blowing up to actually me retweeting a lot of his stuff, which I was just happy to see someone like him talking about a lot of these issues. And I was thankful because whenever you can get a smart mind who understands XRP to be kind of vocal, he's a good asset. He's a really good asset. Isn't it funny that so many attorneys and lawyers are in the XRP community holding XRP? Doesn't that make you a little more confident about where the SEC's legal position actually lies in regards to this entire thing? Like all the attorneys are saying, okay, yes, anything could happen, but we want to hold XRP. Just throwing it out there. If XRP approved ETF by Bitwise, will XRP reach $50 in 2025? Man, that, I can't give price predictions, so I'll leave that to your own discretion. Here's what Defend commented on RLUSD. A stablecoin is pegged 1-to-1 with something. XRP can convert everything to anything. Isn't XRP the opposite of a pegged stablecoin? It is the complete opposite, right? It's the complete opposite. It's liquidity. It's just a neutral liquidity that anything can be paired to. So you'd pair stablecoins to XRP, and then everything would come up on the other side. Ha, Albert, got you, brother. Got you. SEC lawyers hold Ethereum. Yeah, that's tomato feet. You're probably right, man. The SEC is probably loaded up on ETH. But here's the thing, man. Like, ETH hasn't really made any. So, like, my biggest thing was, like, I was worried about, and it's so much longer term than what we've seen. The biggest thing I was scared about was, like, ETH making some significant development over the Ripple SEC case that gave it an advantage over XRP. It really hasn't. The market, since this case has dropped, pretty much has been almost completely stagnant in terms of people making any kind of real headway on disrupting Ripple and XRP. So that's the thing. Despite this case being an annoyance, and despite this thing getting dragged on, despite us having to deal with this, it's not like really there's been much competition that's come to disrupt XRP. We still seem to have a very, very nice lead, and especially on the regulatory front, it seems like Ripple is just continuing to make more and more progress all over the world. Eventually, the United States will be turned back on. Guys, make sure to take a quick second and drop a like on the stream. Super helpful. Let me see how many we have right now. Take a look. 151. Let's see if we can get this to 200 before we close shop. Bitwise said trillion and stable by 2026. Interesting. Also, what XLR is trying to do is make XRP Ledger the bridge to all blockchains, not just XRP Ledger stablecoin. So I still need to wrap my head around exactly how that works. But look, guys, I don't know how, there's no other way to say it than cryptocurrencies are inherently important. Like, if you think XRP will be disrupted by a stablecoin, then you essentially think all cryptocurrencies will be disrupted by a stablecoin. XRP is no different than any other stablecoin. So I don't have any fear of that happening. Checking out the news real quick, just making sure we're not missing anything on the XRP side of things. I don't think we are, but if anything is important, I want to make sure it gets covered. Does Swell have a live stream so you can watch the panel speak? I doubt it. They're very confidential there. They're very confidential with the Ripple Swell stuff, so. Someone might be live streaming it, but I'd be surprised if they let that happen. Nope, nothing. Yeah, the big thing we're waiting on right now is figuring out what the SEC is actually appealing in the case. We should know that here in the fairly near future, maybe like 5 to 6 days from now. SEC will probably wait till the last minute. We can't actually go figure out that date. Probably useful to know the date on that when we find out what the SEC is actually appealing. So let me figure out that real quick. That will kind of be the next date we need to pay attention to. Let's see, what was the date the appeal dropped on? before next week's Friday. Is that what we're looking at here? I need to pull up a calendar. Maybe I can. Oh, I can actually probably figure it out using the XRP price chart. We'll do that. We'll do that. I like doing it on the price chart. Pull that up real quick. XRP. Okay, so I think this was probably the day. October 2nd was the day. So we need it by the 16th. October 16th would be 14 hours. I mean, 14 days, not 14 hours. We're in the 8th, so we'll have the next big announcement in the case by, kind of mid next week. 16th, Wednesday. So pretty much a week away, we'll have that information. 16th, 17th? Okay, 16 or 17. They appealed last Thursday, so, okay, so they appealed on Thursday. Funny, guys, like, when you look at the chart retrospectively, did they appeal on the Thursday? It's funny. You see this big down move. I expected this to be the appeal. It was appeal actually on that Thursday. Interesting. 16th or 17th. Okay. Whatever. Whichever one those is. Doesn't really matter. Albert Vet and Erie were discussing Flare oracles on the XRP ledger, and Ripple Dev came in the comments. Hugo said they would be interested in working with Ripple. That'd be awesome if we got the Flare oracle on the XRP ledger. That'd be a very interesting conversation. If anyone could tag me in that conversation, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to read over that conversation. I must have missed it. I can go into Hugo real quick. Go to his replies. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you have that interaction right here. Directly, Flare Oracle on the XRP ledger. Would be really interesting to see those conversations progress. Here we go. Crypto Erie says, what are the reasons we shouldn't use Flare's oracles? Most decentralized solid technology available. Some integration work has already been successfully deployed. And Mayuka says, is there a way to get Flare oracles on chain on the XRP ledger directly? If not, Price Oracle amendment would allow you to oracle data from Flare as well. The amendment wouldn't allow for Flare's oracle to be used on the XRP ledger trustlessly, but this would be a great use case for staking FXRP and or Flare on or FLR on Flare to secure the price relay. Would be delighted to work through this with you. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, guys, with that said, I'm going to cut it off here. Not a whole lot going in the market right now, so we'll look for that Meta Law Man interview later today. That should give us some interesting information on the appeal. If anyone can't watch that, I'll summarize that in a video later today. I'll make sure we do talk about whatever he says there. Should be pretty interesting. No, I don't think Flare seems too upset about Ripple choosing that. All right, guys, with that said, I hope everyone has a great rest